Yeah. So what we have discussed so far is the schedule. Let me just rewind in 30 seconds and you guys can keep creating your lead code account. So day one we'll do array, two live problems, three is for homework that we'll do tomorrow. Three problem solution we'll discuss. Then we'll do 3 to 5 more problems on array on day two. Day three we do strings, theory, 5 problems, then give homework. Day four stack, theory, 3 5 problems. Day 5 and 6 we'll do linked list theory, 3 5 problems. Day six we'll do doubly linked list and 3 to 4 problems live into the session. Okay, and day 7 we'll do queue. So this is the structure, this is the schedule that we are going to follow. What we are going to do, we will do live questions in the session itself. So you have to register on lead code. So I have demonstrated you earlier, which is not recorded, I am so sorry. And how to register on lead code, I think it's quite simple. You can watch lots of video on YouTube and register. Okay, so please do fast register on lead code. We will wait for a few minutes and then we will proceed to our session today. So the list that we are going to follow will be this. So I will give the link of problems. So it has around 300 plus problem. We will select few problems out of it that will be following. Okay, so link to the sheet, this is created by me. So we will be following this, so you can explore this sheet. In that meanwhile I will also explain you what it does. So it's a 60-day program, 60-day ka schedule I have made so that you can follow and learn everything from basics to advanced. It contains around 300 problems on data structure and algorithm, starting from array, 2D array, strings, stacks, queue, and you can see different kind of problems, different links and tree, binary tree, heap, segment tree, sorting, hashing, graph, interview questions in last 10 days. So it's a complete package. You can follow it. You can follow LoveBubble sheet or whichever sheet you want to follow, but this is also an option. We will be doing around 30 questions from this list. Okay, and please guys, in the background you can also complete your lead code accounts because you will be start coding and I will ask you to do alongside me. Okay, anyone having any difficulty in lead code account, please let me know. So let me also tell you the 5 problems of array we are going to cover today. So we'll be first doing two sum. It's a very simple and a very, you can say, famous problem on lead code as a beginner problem. Then we'll do three maximum problem, third maximum number. These two problem we'll do live. Next you will do move zeros, rotate array and find a duplicate number. Find a duplicate number is a very interesting question. We will do it tomorrow. You will try on your own in homework. मैं आपको explain कर दूँगा. I will explain you the approach that you can follow. Next day we will do sort 0 1 2. It's a very common question. Next permutation we are going to do, I haven't decided the 5 question, but still majority element we'll do this 5 questions only. Okay, in the tomorrow's session. In day 3 we will be doing strings. So string is there for 3 days and I will select some easy, medium and hard question that will follow. Palindrome, so we'll definitely do. Longest common prefix will definitely do. Permutation will do. So these kind of questions we are going to do. I'll select and I'll let you know in the session. So we'll wait 1 minute more for people to sign up to the lead code account, then we will start the theory part. Yes, session is recorded. It was clearly mentioned in the Google form that you filled that session will be recorded and YouTube link will be provided to you. Okay, I don't think there is any ambiguity or a need for any confusion. Stop recording. Okay, I think let's start. If you are not able to create your lead code account, please let me know in the comments who all is left to create the lead code account. Is there anyone, or I am just wasting our times? Everybody has the lead code allowed? Oh, sorry, account, not allowed. So everybody has. Shreya has. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so let's continue. I think a lot of students have. If anyone doesn't have a lead code account, please make it and make sure you have it by next session, because else it won't be of much help to you. Okay, so let's start. Let me first tell you what is array, why we need array. So before we go to array, what other way of storing data we have? We have like variables. So what is variables? So with the help of variables, let's say I'm not using any language, I'm just telling you simple variable. Like we define int a equals to 9. So this is how we store a value. Then we work on the value of a plus plus, or we can do a minus minus, whatever operation we want to perform. So what is a? A is a variable which contains a value 9. It's a container for data. Variable is a container for data. Simple. So what if I need 10 variables? So what we'll do, like we have to like a1, a2, a3 and so on a10. So it will be very hectic and inefficient. So in order to declare a lot of variables of the same data type, we use data structure called arrays. So array is a data structure which have similar data type for a lot of numbers. Like for example, if I tell you the theory, an array is a collection of items of same type. Okay, so this is what we have learned. We used to have variables, variable a, okay, and its value is 9. So we have variable 1. What if we want another variable? We say a2 equals to 10. What if I want 100 variables? There is a need that I need to define 100 variables. I can't go a1, a2, a100. That will be very inefficient. To solve these problems, we have defined a data structure that is called array. Array is a collection of items of same type. So this is what we have understood. If we are creating integers, so it will all be integers. If it is characters, it will be all characters. If it is float, it will be all float. Next point that we learn is same type at contiguous memory location. So what does that mean? So let's see this representation. Imagine this is memory, right? This is your memory location. This is your heap. This is part of your CPU. So there are lots of addresses, 100 and 104, 108, and there are lots of value kept at it. So you can say at address 100, 12 is stored. At address 104, 15 is stored. At address 108, 9 is stored. So this is what is the basic memory representation of any system. Okay, so what it does, like we have said, let's say we are creating an array of size 10. Okay, array of size 10. We want 10 variables, we create an array of size 10. So what happens, your memory will allocate your memory block where 10 adjacent blocks. This is one block, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, this is 5. Adjacent mean they are just next to one another. Like first block is kept at 100. Int will take 4 bytes. Let's say it take 4 bytes, it take different value in different compilers. Just ignore that part. So the next address will be 104. Next value is capped at 104, next value is capped at 108, next value is capped at 112, next is 1116, and next is 120. Okay, so this is how different values are stored in an array. This is what we call adjacent values, or at a contiguous memory location. At contiguous memory location, which means values which are adjacent to one another, which are in a linear order. Okay, so is that clear to everyone? Contiguous memory, what do we mean by contiguous memory? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I will go and explain you even more about it. So if you have any doubt, then comment. Like I will assume rest of the student have no doubt. So if you have any query about contiguous memory location, then you comment, because this is a very important part to understand about array. What do you mean by contiguous memory location? Which means every block is kept one side to another, first block, second block, third block, fourth block. So what could have been the alternative? Like one block is kept at 100 and second block is kept at 120, third block is kept at 540 or somewhere else. So that will be a non-contiguous or random memory allocation. Okay, so this is what we have understood. Array is a collection of items of same data type, and contiguous memory location. Array is a linear data structure. Linear data structure means they all are assigned at one order. Like if some array there is only single link between one another, that's why you call it's about hierarchy. Like if you tree, there is one level, then there is another level, then there is another level. In graph there are multiple connections, so you call them non-linear data structure, and array is a linear data structure. Now we'll look at the implementation of array in all the three languages. This is the IDE. Okay, so in C++, how we define an array? In C++, how we define an array? We just take simple value and we take int, whatever be the data type, we variable name, var r, and size. Okay, square brackets. This is how we define, and we define the size. Okay, when we go to Java, how do we define? Almost similar, slight difference. We define int var r and new int. We use the new block here. I hope you are aware why new block is used. New block is used to allocate memory block of 12 integer size. So what will do, it will allocate 12 spaces, that is 4 into 12, 48 bytes of space will be allocated to var r. Okay, in Python, how we do? Python, there is no array as such. We only use list and we work on them like it's an array. So you empty array is defined like this. You don't have to define any size. You can also define it if you like. It's there is star, etc. 1, 2, 3. That's how you define an array in different languages. Okay, this is how we define an array in C++, in Java, and in Python. Now what we do, we will traverse all the elements of an array. Let's define an array and then traverse it. We will first traverse in C++, then we'll do in Java, and then we'll do in Python. So please don't worry if you belong to any different languages. Let me open IDEs for each one of them. First C++ and new one for Java. Okay, I'll do something, fix it. Okay. Let me run it on LeetCode. Okay, okay, I'll demonstrate in CPP and give you idea how it will work in other languages. Okay, yeah, so here it is. We'll do it here. Okay, so let's say we define an array int r equals to array. This is how we will initialize values to it. Okay, 1, 2, so it's very simple. I hope you are aware of it. Just want to make sure everybody is on the same page. So what we'll do, we'll start a for loop int for indexing. We will also study about other properties of array, so don't worry about it. So we can take r dot size, I think, if I'm not wrong. So many language, I get confused. Okay, so we'll print the element. First we'll put the index. Which element? I hope you know all this outputs, etc. Okay, so we'll do array variable name and the index in the square bracket. That's how you print an array. Let me run it and then I'll explain you again. size is not there, then is the length. Which method is there in array? Yes, talk on, you can attend. Length क्या होती है array में? How do you get array length in? Let me check it ahead. Okay, so I have to define this. Sorry. I was in a habit of using STL, so I made it according to that. You can just take the length, that is 5, and you can run it. Okay, that's how we printed every single element with the index as well. So how you can access different element in an array? It's a random access data structure. Like you can access any index provided it is within the limits of it. Like say I want to access the 4th data. I will also go why it starts from 0, so don't worry about that. So 4, I will just give index 3 because it goes with -1. Okay, so I can print any index I want. So let me show you how to print traverse in other languages as well. We did in C++, we defined array, defined the value, simple for loop, and indexes we printed. Similarly in Java, we defined an array, added value in curly braces, and printed in a for loop. Similarly in Python. Okay. How to find the length of an array in C++? What we have to do, we are given an array, we have to find length. The only way to do that is size of array divided by size of array first element. So what it is doing, let's say you have an array of 10 size, size of each element is, yeah, I have to divide, Raj, directly I won't find. Okay, so size of each is 4 byte. So if the total size is 40 byte divided by 4, you will get the length of the array. Okay. So this is how you find length of an array in C++. Size of array divided by size of array first index. Pehla element, last element, because you don't have the length, so you cannot take the last element. Okay, you get the length. In Java, you can simply print array dot length. It's a property, it's not a method, so you don't have to use the parenthesis at the end of the length name. So it's a property, you can call array dot length. In Python, you will use len method and pass array as a parameter, and it will output you the length. Somebody is asking anything? Okay, so these are the basics that we talk about it. Another thing about array, it's a random access data pointers. Please close your audio, because if next time voice will come, I will remove that person. Okay, please don't do these things. Yeah, so what I was saying, like array is a random access, which means you can access any index you want. Okay, and you can output that specific element whenever you want. So it's a random access data structure. So what we are discussing, array is a random access data structure. We can access any index and print that specific value. Now a very important question will come, why array indexing start from 0? Okay, so we have to find out why array indexing start from 0. Can anyone tell me like why array indexing start from 0? Let me know in the comments chat section. Anyone? Why array indexing start from 0? Because of pointer relative position. Okay, Shreyansh, please describe more. C++ standards, yeah, okay, but why? Why it's the standard? For convenience, okay. So convenience is not like first element is called first, second is second. So I think that will be more convenient. Think. Example pointers are Shreyansh, good, good, good. That is something that we actually reason. Yeah, yeah, good, Nishi. We can calculate address of other elements. Okay. Is sir memory location is 0. Memory location can be any value, but index is 0. Okay. Okay, Naman. Yeah, but that's what happened. That's not the reason, na, Naman. Reason is somewhere around because we can calculate the address of other elements will be relatively easy somewhere like that. Let's see with an example. In this case, if I ask you, let's say we are here at 100 position, okay? So if I want to find out the next element, how will I find it? Like you can see this is the array, like let's say this is the position where the value is. Where is the next position? This is here. So if I want to reach from 100 to 104, what we are skipping one block, right? We are skipping one block from 12 to 15, okay? Getting my point? If I want to reach from 12, this is base to 9, how many blocks I am skipping? I am skipping 1 and I am skipping 2 blocks, okay? If I want to access 21, how many blocks I am skipping? 12, then 15 and then 9. So that's why we take the base address at 0 and all the indexes as +1 out of it, like +1 to second index, +2 to the third index and +3 to the fourth index. And whatever students have written like this star ARR, this is more technical definition that you can go into, but I have explained you the concept why it is taken, because if you just add the number in the base address, you will get the address of that element, okay? Whichever value you want to access, you get the address of that element. That's why we take the indexing from 0. Let me tell you the theory about it. The name of an array is essentially a pointer, a reference to a memory location. So the expression array and refers to memory location from the starting. So it represents the first element, that is in our case 12, and address is 0, okay? The first element of the array is externally contained, it's noted at array 0, and you can just add on it so that you can get to the next element, and you just add the base value number to the base value and you get the address of that index. So this is a simple reason, simple answer. Please don't complicate so much. It's basically because calculating address of elements will be relatively easy. That's why we start from 0 instead of 1. So as a user, it may not matter to us. As a programmer, it may not matter to us, but at the way it executed in a computer or system, it creates a lot of efficiency and saves a lot of time, okay? So that's all for theory from array. Is there anything you want to like to ask about array? You can let me know. Then we'll start the problems part, because array theory in array is very limited. There is not much to do in array in the theory part. In linked list tag there might be more theory. It will take more time, but in array there isn't any much theory associated with it. So any query to anyone in array what we have discussed? Okay, so let's open LeetCode. Please guys, open your LeetCode. I will tell you the problem that we are going to discuss first. I will first explain the problem to you, give you time to attempt on your own, and we'll keep discussing for 4, 5, 10 minutes, and then I will discuss the solution and then the code in all the 3 languages. Okay, so oops. So I'm commenting the link in the chat. No, you cannot. You have to define it as int. If you want to put int data, you cannot typecast like that. Problem 1. So open this link, do some. It's a very standard problem of LeetCode. I hope everyone is open. Yeah. So it's a very simple problem, and let me explain you what we are going to do. We will start from very basic. Our approach to it will be very simple. We will use the brute force approach. You can also use map and etc. for single pass, double pass. You can optimize later as much as you want, but we will use a simple method. So what we have to do, we are given an Everybody is open this problem, you have to code alongside. Yeah, so it's open. So it's a simple problem. We have given an array of integers nums and an integer target as target. We have to return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to targets. Let's say this is an example 2, 7, 11, 15, and we are given a target 9. So we have, so which number in this add up to 9? 11 plus 15 is 26, 15 plus 7 is 22. So only two numbers are there, 2 and 7, which add up to 9, and at the end we have to return its indices. So we have to return an array. So vector in the case of C++, Java array, and in the case of Python as a list. So we have to identify two numbers whose sum will be equal to the target given to us, and we have to return the indices. We have to हम assume कर सकते हैं, we can assume that each input would have exactly one solution. So we don't have to take care of a situation where, so very important, when you are going to lead code, you have to read all the conditions, all the analysis, then only go to coding. So read properly. You may assume that each input may have exactly one solution. It is never going to happen like you will have 5 or 4, 7 or 2, or 7 or 2 already happens, 6 or 3. It will only be a one fit, only one solution will be there. Okay. Next case, one example, 3 to 4, target is 6, so index will be 2 and 4, so 1 and 2 will be the answer. 3 and 3, target is 6. Okay, some constraints, some length and array, etc. You can see the limit size of it, so it means you have to take a long, you cannot take int, because num psi value is varying from 10 to the power 9 to 10 to the power 9. I don't think it can be defined in int, and target is also in this range. And one more thing, only one valid answer exists, like one answer will definitely exist. As a, it will never happen that there is no answer to the solution. Okay. So the approach we are going to right now, it will be O(n) square. We will slowly make it more efficient. So you can try this problem, go to this section, C++ and Java, Python section, whichever language you are using. So please don't, we will be using Python, don't do it in Python 3. So there will be slight difference in the code if you do in Python and Python 3. So let's take 3-4 minutes. If you have any doubt in the question, in the approach, then you can let me know. Please try on your own and do whatever you can to solve. You can keep talking to me in the chat if you have any doubts. Okay, so our main purpose is to make you solve problems live. So keep motivating you, keep discussing you, keep giving hints to you. Okay, so then we go to the solution part. Okay. Anyone like to share their approach? What approach you are trying to this solution? What is coming to your mind if somebody is not able to approach? Yes, we can use two-pointer approach. We can start a one pointer from the start and one from the end, and keep comparing all the values and keep a if-else condition. We can use a two-pointer approach. Anyone else? Any other selection sort type loop? Yeah, you can do sorting, but you have to do comparison again, right? Selection sort, why unnecessarily sort? Because order doesn't matter. They haven't asked us to give us in specific order, they just want the indices of two numbers. Yes, Aman, that's a brute force approach that we are going to use. Two for loop and one if else, which will cover, if there are 10 elements, every element will be covered to 9 elements, so it will be n square complexity. So this is the approach we are going to, simplest approach we are going to use. Then you can optimize it further with map, with single pass, double pass, and all those ideas. So rest of the student also try. You can also let me know what are you doing, what are you thinking. Okay, we'll discuss your approaches. Yes, we can also use map and filter, Aman. So please keep trying the question. Anyone, any other approach you would like to share? No, no, it's mentioned na Mohammed that there will be only one answer only. It is given in the question. Else we would have tackled this situation as well, but they have mentioned that there is only one match. I will discuss the solution at 7 p.m. Let's wait for 3 minutes more so that students can try on your own. So it's very important you try on your own. Yeah, elements should be distinct. I think it's mentioned. No duplicates. There will be duplicates, as you can see in the third example. 3 is 2 number of times, twice. So elements can be same as well. So distinct or same is not given. So we have to tackle both conditions. How many students are actually attempting or lead code? So please let me know in the comments that you are attempting the question. Because if you don't put in your own brains, own efforts, you will never learn DSA. You can join any courses you want, any boot camps, any physical, any offline. Until and unless you are not putting your own efforts, you will never be solve them. Or two some say easy question nahi ho sakta. They can be any question simpler than this to start as your first question. So if you are any doubts, you can just take 2 for loops, one for loop for first element and second for loop for rest of the element. Compare and check the sum, does it match target or not. So this is the easiest solution. Okay, very good. Lot of students are doing. Yes, you can use 2 instead. Number of elements is unknown before. No, you know the number of elements. You can identify using any approach. I told you how to do in C++, Java and Python. So it's not a stream of character, it's a fixed array. Okay, good. Lots of students are doing very good. Good. That's a very simple approach, Raj. That's what we'll be doing. We'll slowly complicate our solutions. This is our first problem. By the time we reach the 38th problem, we'll be doing a lot of complicated questions. Good. Abhishek, that's a perfect answer which we are also going to use. You have copied from my code. Yeah, was it there on discuss? Acha, you typed it yourself. Very good. So let's look at the solution. So what approach we are going to use? I think time is up. You can keep trying on your own at later as well. So let me first explain you the approach. So what approach we are going to use is simple. We'll take 2 for loops. We'll start first loop from left to right, from 0 index to n minus 1 index. We will compare first element to the rest of the elements, like we'll compare 2 with 7, is it equal to 9? Yes, it is. We will exit, but in case it is not, then we'll do 2 plus 11. Is it equal to 9? It is not. We'll move on. 2 plus 15. It is not. We move on. Then we go to second loop. We'll compare 7 with 11 and 15. Then 11 with 15, and then we'll end. Okay, so it's given that there will be at least one solution. He has done this. So guys, please look at the solution in the chat. You know, please give your comments and engage with Tanya, and this is the perfect way to learn better. Okay, so look at her code and also tell her where she is wrong. By that time I will explain the code for all the students who are not able to understand it. Okay, so this is a simple code. We are using a vector int, so you can also do using an array because it's by default given as vector int. So vector is a standard template library data structure. It's just an array. It's a better version of array and nothing else. So we have defined a result array because we have to return the result in the form of a vector. So we have started first loop, I equals to 0, I less than nums dot size. You can also do it -1 because last element will not be compared. Okay, so it won't matter in the result final. So first loop is for I equals to 0, nums dot size. Size is a method available in STL. It's not there in basic C++. Then inner loop you will start from j equals to I plus 1, and j should be less than nums dot size j plus plus. In the if condition you check if the sum of it is equal to target. You add both the indexes, that is I and j, to are comparing into result and return the result. If none is found, by default the empty result will be returned, but this won't happen in any situation because we have been assured. Let's look at the Java code. We have taken a result array of size 2 because we have to return 2 indices as mentioned here. A first for loop from left to right, a second for loop to compare that first element to the rest of the elements in an array. You check the sum. If it is equal to target, you add in result and return result. Similarly in Python, you have taken a list. You don't have to specify the size here. For I in range 0, comma, len nums. For j in range I plus 1, len nums, sum is target, append, result. Okay, so very simple question. Okay, so how many students have successfully attempted this question? Thank you, Yash, for clarifying this. It's a very simple question. How many students have submitted it properly? Let me know in the comments. Done, Amisha, very good. Done, Palak. Done, Nidhi. Swapnika, very good. Ajay Kumar, please write on lead code. Make sure you have lead code from the next session. Can anyone? Good, Asmita. Good, Kshitij, Yash, Mohammed, Ankita. And also don't worry if I miss your name. There are so many names. So hi. Okay, Deepti. Okay, Ishu. Good. Okay, Animesh. Tane, Animesh is telling the issue with your code. Good, Nishi. Good, Kritika. So is there anyone who is not able to code it so that I can tell any doubts if you have any? Okay, good. So I think a lot of students have done. Okay, so if somebody is not able to do, you can watch the recording and check the code. I will share the PDF in the group or code itself, and then you can do it according to that. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So next question is also a very simple question. I have taken first two questions. अरे भाई कहाँ चला जाता है ये मल्टी टच बड़ा ख़राब होता है. One second, the problem is loading. No, Nimesh, we will not discuss the optimized approach right now because it will take map or everything else. Then it will become very confusing for students to understand. Okay, so let's look at another very simple problem. third maximum number. We are given an array, we have to find out the third maximum number. So one thing can be you have to find the largest number, then you can to find the second largest, then third largest, then it can be a generalized number, you have to find the nth largest number. So this is the beginning of that series of questions. So you have to return the third maximum number. If the third maximum number does not exist, then you have to just return the maximum number. So given an array, simple. And let me also give the link in the chat, link to P2. Okay, it's a very simple problem. You have to just find the third largest number. It's calling me. Okay, you have to just find the third largest number. 3 to 1, third largest is 1. In 1 2 there is no largest, third largest number, you return the largest, that is 2. 2 2 3 1, third largest number will be what, 1. Okay, you have to do it in ON solution. ON, which means we can do it in one single traversal and not multiple traversal of the same array or single loop. Okay, it's a very good question. It has 1841 dislikes because LeetCode kids don't like these kind of basic questions, but if you are doing first question as TSS, and you might do it. Ajay Kumar, you can do sorting, but no sorting is less than n log n. Okay, so any sorting will give you n log n. Okay, so we need n only. So it's a very simple question. You just traverse the loop array once, and you just keep 3 variables and keep swapping values on 1 2 3. So sorting will be a lot of complicated. Yes, Neelam, please learn STL because it's very helpful. You can also do problems without STL as well, but we'll mostly cover solution with STL only. So it's a very simple problem. I hope you are able to understand. If anyone has any issue in doing it, let me know in the comments. Rest of the student you can do. There's a lot of submission. If you want to increase your number of problems on LeetCode, then this is a perfect problem to do in order to reduce it. Next problems that we are going to do tomorrow, move zeros. It's also a very interesting problem. Rotate array, it is also an easy problem, but rotation is a very important concept that is asked at many times. Find duplicate number, it's a very interesting problem. ये काफ़ी थोड़ी डिफिकल्ट लगेगी हमें समझने के लिए, कम से कम 15-20 मिनट लगेंगे इसको. ओके अर्पित सक्सेना, you want me to explain STL first of all? It will take around 1 hour to explain me STL first of all. Animesh, it depends whatever is the requirement of the question. Like they want to save time, they want to save space, but mostly we do lots of problems with hash. So almost every problem you will approach can be solved using hash map, but keep hash map as your last option, and please try to exhaust all your other algorithm, then go to hash map. Okay. Most common important topics of STL, we'll be using vector only, vector, and vector is mostly used. And for linked list, what you are going to use, I'll let you know in the group. Okay, I have to think about it. Okay, so it's an easy question. Let me tell you in brief how to approach it, and then we will discuss the homework questions you have to do. You can do it now, you can do it later, and we'll discuss the solution tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be doing a lot of questions, so please be ready. So what we are going to do, we are going to initialize the 3 variables, long1, long2, long3, initialized by long min. Why we are taking long min? Because it can also have negative numbers, because the range is from -231 to positive 231. So we cannot take 0 as the minimum value. We have to take long min. It will be the last value of the minimum numbers. Okay. So we take a simple for loop, int n colon nums. It's a for each loop. You can also take a index based loop as well. No issue with that. Okay. So first you will check the number. So approach we are using, we will take three variables: first largest, second largest, and third largest. If we get first number, we will assign it to the first largest. When we go to the second number, if it is greater than the first number, then we will assign first to second, second to third, and the new number to first. So and so on. In the end, whole traversal, we will have the third largest in the third variable. So very simple logic, simple for loop, and three if else condition. First is if the n that comes is equal to either of the values, so nothing will change, nothing value will change. Let's say you have this here, you take this value, we take it becomes 1, then you go here, it becomes equal to 2 only, so no need to change. When you go to 3, 3 becomes 1 and 2 becomes second. When you go to 1, it becomes the third number. So this is how it's approach. I'll do a dry run if you want. It's a very simple, so that's why I'm not wasting a lot of time in it. So if n is greater than 1, then 2 will become 3 and 1 will become 2 and new n will become 1. If n is greater than 2 and less than 1, which will be handled in this condition, then 2 will become 3 and new n will become 2. Else if it is greater than 3 and smaller than rest of the values, then n will be assigned directly to the 3. Okay. At the end, what we are going to check, it's a ternary operator. I hope you are aware what is ternary operator. So what we are checking, if 3 is equal to the default value, let's say there is no third maximum found in this array, so we will compare with long min. If it is true, it's equal to it, we will send the largest number as it was mentioned in the problem, else we will sell the third largest number. Okay, logic is clear, someone? User entered value.pass. I don't understand the question, please ask again. Okay, so this is a simple approach. Let's look at Java code. Same, long 1, long 2, long 3. Here you initialize by long class dot min value. It is a static variable available here, constant value which you can take. Found is not needed. So you take a for loop, you check if it is equal, then you continue. If it is greater than 1, you swap all the values. If it is greater than 2, you swap last two values. If it is greater than 3, you only swap 3 value. Return 3 equals to long dot min. If it is default value, which means maximum is not found, you will return the largest, else you will return the third largest. You have typecasted it in order to convert long to int, because int was needed in this case. Okay, so you can also define it in int as well. If it can do it in int, then you can also do it in. Similarly in Python, we have defined 3 values, 1, 2, 3. So this code won't work in Python 3. Lot of students will try to run this code in Python 3. It won't work there. Okay, it will only work in Python and not in Python 3. So make sure you don't type in Python 3. If you want to do for Python 3, then the code will be slightly different. Okay, 1, 2, 3 values initialized to minus sys dot maxent, which is the largest negative value for I in nums. If I is greater than 1, so what we'll do, this is the comma operator available in Python to swap the values. If you are not aware of this, you can just write 3 statements as you written in Java or C++. You can write statement like this as well. That is a shorthand notation to swap 2 variables values. Okay, so do third condition, and if it is not equal to this, else largest will be returned. Where is the code to take input values? So it's by default provided to LeetCode to you. You don't have to take the cases, you don't have to take the input. You just have to see what all values are provided you as a parameter here, what is the return type, and you just have to return it into the same format. So don't worry about that. LeetCode is a different platform where you don't have to worry about taking input from the user. Okay, so anyone have any doubt in third maximum solution? So you just have to write the function in LeetCode. You don't have to write the read scanner dot read line or all those kind of things. Okay, I hope everybody is done. So let's understand the next 3 questions that you have to do on your own, and then we'll discuss it tomorrow. First is move zeros. So it's a very simple question. You have given an array 0, 1, 0, 3, 12. What you have to do, you have to push all the zeros in the back and all the numbers in the starting. It's a very important and very interesting question. You can use two pointer approach as one kid was describing it earlier. I will first tell you tomorrow theory what is two pointer, how it works, and then we will apply to this question. Okay, so this is a very simple question. I hope you are okay with this. You have this DSA problem list. I will also share it in the group, and you will find the link of each question from there. Okay, this simple problem. Next we go to rotate array. What we have to do, it's a very important question, lots of positive likes, 5000 likes, so which means it's a popular question. So you have given an array, rotate the array to the right by k steps, where k is a non-negative number. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be 5, or anything. So you are given 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, rotate by 3. So what you'll do, 1 will go at the place of 4, 2 3 4, and rest will come at the left. Okay, okay, so this is the second question you have to do, how to rotate an array. 1 2 3 4 5 6, rotate 3 steps. And let's say this is an array, you have to rotate 2 steps, so 3 or 9 will go in the starting, and minus 100 will go to the second position. It will be slightly different, difficult question. You might have to think a lot, but I'll tell you a very easy solution to this. There are at least 3 different ways to solve this problem. I would recommend you to think of all those 3 problems. Okay, I would recommend you to think of all the 3 problems, because you are in a learning phase. It's around 2 lakh submission, 20 lakh submission. It's a very famous problem. And can you do it in place with O1 extra space? You can also try it. These are some follow-up. You can think of these items as something said to you by interviewer, like they can put additional condition, don't use extra space, do it in ON. So do read these kind of things and also try to incorporate in your solution. Next is how to find a duplicate number. Let's say we are given an array of integer num containing n plus 1 integer, where each integer is the range in 1 to n. So n number of elements only. Let's say there are 10 number of elements. All the elements within it will be the range of 1 to 10 only. So every number will be at a unique position. There will be only one number which will be repeated, that we have to find. Let's say in this case there are 5 elements, so it will take from 1 2 3 4 5 only, but there is one repeated number 2. That is what we have to return. You can't modify the array, you can use only constant extra space. So you cannot take additional array, you cannot take change the existing array format, which means you cannot sort it. Okay, so you have to just do it in place. Every number appears only once, except only one integer that will be appearing at 2 times. So all these things you can read and try, and then we'll discuss the solution. This is slightly interesting question of all the 5. So you can see I have slowly increased the level from giving you 2 sum to third maximum number, then move zeros, then rotate array, and then duplicate number. So duplicate number, I think it's easy or it's medium. It's medium level difficulty. Rotate array is medium level, and move zeros must be easy. Yeah, so 3 easy, 2 medium, and then tomorrow we'll move on to some hard questions as well. No, just submit on your lead code only. It will display on your profile, and we will, at the end of the bootcamp, we will take your lead code lead code user profile links. Like we will take it for verification that you have done all the problems. Just submit on your lead code successfully in whichever language you want. That will be enough. You don't have to submit on GitHub or anywhere else. So it's look cool to share on GitHub, but it solves no purpose. If you do it on lead code, then only you will learn something out of it. Okay, so I have spoken a lot. If you have anything, please let me know. Yes, you will get the certificate at the end. That's why so many students have come. Okay, so I hope this session helped you. If you have any doubts, any queries, you can let me know.